What's up, guys? So we're going to do a small review of the Scorpio N, how it feels to drive in the city. Of course, this is not a peak hours, but we'll get a good idea of how this feels. So let's start. What you notice is those big mirrors. They help you a lot in visibility. And talking about visibility, you can just see the amount of glass area here that certainly aids the visibility, and the seating position is just something else. You get a clear view of probably the car which is in the front and ahead of that. Another good thing is the suspension. It just makes those small undulations on the road or those small speed breakers feel like they were not there. As you can see, it's not very crowded, but in a while we'll get to see how this feels in really those bumper to bumper traffic. Now I've mainly driven this in the city for about 460 kilometers. And as you can see, it's showing an average of 11 kilometers per liter. Now this is the diesel, so I mean it's quite commendable for a 2.2 liter diesel, and this has seen some really bad bumper to bumper traffic in those 460 kilometers. I think the clutch, although it's little light, but if you've driven Maruti or if you have driven Ford, you'll understand that this is by no means a very light clutch. The travel is quite long, and for someone with shorter legs, they are going to have some problems, but it's not all that bad. But in my experience, I feel the seating position is slightly skewed towards the right. I mean, you think there's a lot of space between the clutch and brake, but that's not the case. So you see, I just went to change gears and I accidentally ended up pressing the brakes. So that's what I meant. And in city conditions or in highways, this is going to be a problem. But I think it's something what you'll get used to eventually. And I think this will be faced by mainly people with bigger feet or larger feet. Torque on offer and how the gearing is done is something else. I mean, as you saw, I was in second and I didn't have to slow down at all on that speed breaker, and it just pulled along. The roads are broad enough and people around you are driving in a sane way, well, you'll have no problem at all. But as you can see now, as things get tighter and tighter, it's not all that easy to navigate. The gear throws are short, and I feel the gear shifts could be a little more smoother, and the clutch definitely could be a little more lighter. Not all that hot outside today, but this AC, it does a fantastic job of keeping the cabin cool, and this is quite a large cabin. So I know the third row does not have AC vents, but well, we'll have to find out whether if that's a deal breaker or not, because I find the AC to be quite effective. Talking about the steering, it's very light. It is something what you did not expect Scorpio would be. The steering is very light. It just turns in the direction you want to, and it's quite well weighted too. But that sort of gives you a confidence of a small car, or you're driving something which is very drivable. And this SUV by no means in bumper to bumper traffic is that car that you want to just push in around all the gaps you find. At the end of the day, this is a large SUV, and you will feel its width in those tight turns. Since we are at this traffic stop, let's check its automatic start-stop function. Well, it works smoothly. I mean, it works the way you want it to. And I've honestly so far, well, I've not used it much, but yes, in those really long traffic jams, this well needed rest that your left foot needs. At the end of the day, this is a large SUV, and as you can see, it makes its width and presence felt in every corner that you push it. So would this manual be recommended in today's time in really bad traffic? Well, given the traffic conditions we have in our city these days, an automatic will make your life much easier. Yes, manual is fun to drive, but the automatic is the one to go if you're constantly going to travel in those peak hour traffics. But if that is something what you don't do very often and you want the fun of manual, then definitely you won't be disappointed. The clutch, it can be a little lighter, but there's nothing to complain about. It's not a deal breaker, and neither is this gear knob. It shifts quite smoothly. So yes, you can still go for the manual. If you have booked it already, don't feel bad. But if you're constantly going to be in those bumper to bumper traffics all the time, automatic is the way to go. Start-stop function just works effortlessly. Although please don't use it in every traffic light that you get, because it does drain the battery to some extent. I mean, I would recommend maybe traffic signals that halt you for more than 2 minutes. This works really well then. But as you can see, I had to start the car very quickly. That does take a toll on the battery. As you can see, even in this kind of traffic, okay, well, it's not just the traffic, it's also the drivers. So as you can see, I'm in second and it's just pulling along smoothly. I don't have to use the clutch so much. So yes, it's not all that bad. If you love manual, you certainly can go for it. It'll still give you that extra connected feel that what you're looking for. But if it was automatic, this experience would be much more smooth, much more effortless from my end, is what I feel. The suspension is just something. Roads, no roads, it makes you feel like there's always been roads everywhere. Especially these broken patches, you know, it just glides over them. Got this EcoSense kind of AI based thing that tells you how well you've been driving this car. And I think in those extremely long drives in traffic that you're going to face, this can be quite an entertaining thing. It's also got a lot of applications in case you get bored when you're stuck in the jam, that is. If you like the video, do give it a thumbs up, do subscribe to this channel, and see you on the next one. Until then, take care. And as I press the clutch,
sorry, I didn't get that. The internet isn't reachable.
The Alexa, which is not as efficient as the start-stop function. As you can see, in roads like these, you have to be very careful about the width of the SUV because this is quite a wide car. And I seriously think people should start putting indicators or at least giving hands like this bus did. Turn. So let's see how does this car fare against a U-turn. Well, if the road is broad enough, yes, as you can see, it's taken up the entire road. So if the road is broad enough, you won't have a problem. But in those narrow roads, yes, you will have to plan your U-turn carefully because there are chances that you will have to do multiple turns.